Welcome to the Blitz Show, brought to you by Covers, where Derek Carty and his Blitz projections look to pick off the best plus EV plays for every primetime game. And if you've been following the plays, if you've been following the leans, you got a little more money in your pocket. Since week 3, Monday Night Football, Derek, your projections 14-4, plus 8.7 units. But we turn the projections and the model on to week 6, Thursday Night Football. Kansas City, minus 10.5 point favorite at home versus Denver. Divisional game. Total has gone from 51 to 47.5. Travis Kelce and Nick Bolton both limited at practice Tuesday. Starting safety for Denver, who played last week but missed the previous week, Justin Simmons, was limited. But the big news here, Derek, and I'll quote Kevin Roth, our friendly neighborhood weatherman, I'm expecting winds sustained between 15 and 20 miles an hour with gusts around 30 miles an hour. There's also a chance of rain, though it's a bit early to be certain of that. I think we can both agree, if we've looked around at the other ones, that even Roth, this is a modest interpretation of what we could see on the field at Arrowhead.
Yeah, if you look at, Kevin Roth is looking at all sorts of fancy weather equipment and whatnot, but if you look at just the automated, forecast that you look at any weather site, you're looking at closer to 25 mile per hour sustained winds. You're looking at a good chance of rain. So even if it's only what Kevin Roth is saying, it's still great. And it seems like there's still a little bit of uncertainty where it could be even greater than that. So this is not a good game for passing conditions.
Yes. So let's get right to that. We got leans, we got plays, more confidence in the plays, but we got a lot of confidence today. Week 6, Thursday Night Football, 3 plays. Starting off with Patrick Mahomes under 274.5 passing yards, minus 110. That's at Bet365. That's a play at the time of recording on Wednesday afternoon. Rain, wind, game script, average intended air yards, bottom 10 in the league. Already one Mahomes under 274.5. Cash Sunday Night Football versus the Jets. There's a lot of green check marks for Mahomes here.
The big one in the other column is that it's Patrick Mahomes, and he's really, really good at football, and they like to throw the ball. But that's why a lot of times the under is the sharp side of these things. Like, everyone knows Mahomes is good, and this is not a spot where we should expect him to be, classic Mahomes. This is a spot where there's a lot of things working against him. Like you said, the game script, 10.5 point favorite. They might be running more in the second half, in the fourth quarter, because they have a huge lead. The Broncos play at a very slow pace, so they should have a little bit less volume overall than they usually do. Then we have this wind situation and rain situation, and you throw it all together, and the Blitz does not think Mahomes has the best chance of getting to 274.5. It's projecting quite a bit lower than that, and it's showing a lot of value on this.
Yeah, just looking it up, just one pass of 40-plus yards on the year for Mahomes, who basically just takes what the defense gives him now and just checks it down. And that's what you've seen. If you've been on the betting side of the overs for his receivers, then you're not getting chunk yardage with this offense. It's slow. It's making easy passes, and 274.5 is a big number, especially bad weather and this game script. So that's one play in the books. Looking across the other side to the opposing quarterback, Russell Wilson, under 21.5 completions, minus 130. That's at Bet Rivers at the time of recording. That's a play. This is a very underrated Kansas City defense. Steve Spag's defense, year in, year out, has really performed well, and I think it's one of the reasons why Kansas City is where they are, because the offense hasn't blown anybody away, let's just say that, this year. Even in very negative game script, which has basically been Denver's entire season for the offense, this is hit over just once in his last 4 games. What's the projection for Wilson?
Yeah, this is a spot where the Blitz is projecting just a little over 18. So at this 21.5 number, we're getting 3.5 completions under the line. Most books are at 20.5, but if you're getting 20.5 plus 105, even money, that still looks really good too. So take your pick, but the under here for Wilson looks good for a lot of the same reasons as they do for Mahomes. Yeah, he has that negative game script, or I guess positive, and he has a passing game script, and but he hasn't done anything with it so far.
Yeah.
And I think the talent level for Russell Wilson is just not what people have thought it is. The past couple years, you can give him passes for, oh, it was Pete Carroll. Oh, it was the offense last year for Denver. And like, it's just time to accept Russell Wilson is a bottom tier quarterback.
Maybe it's just Russ. Like, I think coming out in the second half last week, trailing first 5 possessions from that offense, 0 first downs, including a lost fumble. There's not a lot to like about Russell Wilson. Yes, he does have some talent at receiver, but he's just not taking advantage of it. Russell Wilson under 21.5 completions. If that wind, if that rain is sufficient, that could be an easy one.
And this is a team that likes to run anyway. So if they lean into it more because of that weather, this just looks so good.
And then there are a ton of outs. Like, let's say this game is a little closer than people expect. That's only going to help the under here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, another one. The man himself, Kadarius Toney. If you could have a negative A dot, he would have it. Under 31.5 receiving yards, minus 110. This is a play. That's at Bet365. Rashee Rice getting a little more run. He's seeing some snaps, but nobody on this offense is really out there dominating snaps, dominating routes. Toney, 10.4% target share on the season, 9.7 over the last 3 games, and that includes a season high in targets last week with 6 that he turned into 26 yards. Dead last in average targeted air yards in football. Like, it's not even close. Like, he's way down there. 2.2. I think it's a good time to fade Toney here.
Yeah, exactly. He was on the field a little bit more last week than he has been, but it was still for only about a third of the plays. And the target share that he had last week is probably, a little bit higher than we should expect going forward. Obviously, we have the game script, we have the weather, we have the pace, everything else we talked about with Mahomes. And so, if he's only going to get, 3-4 targets and he's getting an 8 out of 2 on all of them, he's going to have to break one, which is possible. I mean, the guy's athletic, but unless he can really, he catches a little screen or whatever and then just takes off for 20 yards, he's not going to get there unless something like that happens.
Yeah. 31.5. The Kansas City pass catchers rotate as much as other teams' pass rushers do, in and out. If you've bet any of them, you're like, oh, Justin Watson going to have a big game. He's getting a lot of looks in the last game, and then it's week to week. So, like you said, last week might be the ceiling that we see with Kadarius Toney with 6 targets and 5 catches. And like I said, 26 yards. He's just not getting downfield, and that's basically the entire state of that Kansas City offense. So 3 plays. This is here covers. We force Derek Carty into a tough position where we force him to make plays on a game. Over the course of an entire week 6 slate, you might not bet some games, not let alone 3 plays in a single game. So when you're seeing 3 plays in a single game, you know that something is standing out, something that might not be accounted for immediately. And that, my friend, is likely 25-mile-an-hour winds, which is insane. Oh, God. Yeah. Russell Wilson could have a rough game if it's raining and windy. But certainly tuning in. Everything like that creates value. And we got Patrick Mahomes under 274.5, minus 110. Russell Wilson under 21.5 completions, minus 130. And Kadarius Toney under 31.5 receiving yards, minus 110. All plays, all projecting very plus EV. So that will do it. Let's keep running. We've been hot on Thursday night, and we've been hot since week 3. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Derek Carty. This is the Blitz Show, brought to you by Covers. We'll see you back here for Sunday Night Football.